So everyone, this is Rakshit. He is a senior product manager at Spotify, and he is here with us. And the people at IIT BHU are really enthusiastic, and they just welcome you to our campus virtually. And we would be conducting it in the following manner. Like first, we'll have 20-30 seconds of a presentation, typical webinar you can say, and then we'll have an open Q&A session where you can put your doubts and queries and all sorts of innovative questions, and Rakshit would be answering them. You can put them in the questions tab, which you must be seeing on the right side of the pane. So we are starting with the webinar. Over to you, Rakshit.
Sure. Thanks, Vaishnavi. And hi, everyone. It's exciting to meet you guys virtually. And I'm quite excited to share my perspectives on product management. But let me also begin with first, thank you guys for inviting me. It's always exciting to see many of you taking active interest in product management. Compared to when I graduated about 10 years ago, we probably didn't have a lot of awareness and certainly not a lot of excitement around product management. But clearly, one decade changes a lot of things, as is true for most of the technology. And so, I feel really excited to see so many of you are talking about product management, discussing it in your communities, and that is really heartening for me. I'm told that most of you guys are studying in various years of your engineering courses, second, third, fourth, and fifth. If there's anybody who is not a part of this, you're also most welcome. I've tried to keep my presentation relevant for people with various degrees of familiarity with product management. And I'm also told that in the past, you guys have had a few speakers from various reputed organizations, and people have already shared a lot of perspectives. So I would probably try to present my perspective. Some of it might be common knowledge, or some of it you might have heard before, and some of it might be new for you guys, or a new perspective at least. So that's the aim for this presentation. Today's structure, we essentially have first 30 minutes where I will present my views on selected topics. As you could imagine, for any body of knowledge, product management is so vast that it's very difficult to touch upon it from various perspectives in a short period of time. So I've selected some topics. Some of these topics have also been shared with me in the form of Q&A. Like some of you guys had some questions regarding which you wanted to ask me, and so I've included them in my presentation. And after the first 30 minutes, I would open the next 30 minutes for you to ask me questions. And I expect and I welcome every kind of question regarding product management. And if there are any questions which are unanswered, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. And I will leave my presentation with you guys, so you can access the presentation. You can click on these links, and you can follow wherever I have included links in my presentation. And feel free not to take notes because you would have the presentation with you. And I am also having been invited to another speaker conference, which is by Product School. Some of you might have heard about it. It's one of the world's largest product communities, where people, especially practicing product managers rather, come and collaborate, and they present their views on different topics. So I will be presenting this on how to sell your ideas effectively for PMs. This goes live on 25th of October, and it's completely free. So you guys can click on the link, follow, and see if you can attend. All right. So let me start by first introducing myself very quickly. And unlike the usual introductions where people talk, hey, I do this, I do that, I believe in taking an approach which a product manager should ideally take, which is, instead of telling what I do, I believe I should start with why I exist, and how I kind of go about doing what I do. And the what of it is merely a manifestation of what I believe in. So I believe that I exist to leave the world better than I found it. It's a very simple vision that I have. And as you would notice, when you become slightly experienced in your professional careers, you would realize that how important it is to kind of start with the vision and start with the why. So I would say that that's my why. And coming to how I kind of go about executing on the why is by challenging the status quo of various aspects of life, be it personal or be it professional. And in terms of what I do to kind of challenge the status quo in my professional career is by building products. I love building products. I live, eat, and breathe products. I have been working in product management for close to 8 years now. And currently, I work as a senior product manager at Spotify. And in the past, I've headed product teams at Zeta. It's a fintech company based out of India. And I've also led the monetization team at Ola. I've also been the growth lead at Hype Messenger. And I've also was one of the first product managers at Wynk Music. Was part of the the initial founding team and helped scale Wynk to I would say almost 20 million users in less than a year and a half. So it was a phenomenal experience that I've been privileged to be a part of, and I've worked in different industries. As you can see, it's a fair mix of core feature-led products or growth-led products or monetization products, and some of your questions were around that. So I would feel that if you have questions, more questions rather, on what these different roles mean, please use the last 30 minutes for asking those questions as well. And these are some of the questions which I received from you guys. The first was a brief insight into your life revolving around the work you do. Then there was a question on your opinion on how psychology affects the process of product making and launch. How do product managers assure that any feature or move is not specifically a want of the user, but is additionally a need too? It's a good question. With a lot of people growing in the area of product growth, what do you feel about the concept of product-led growth, especially in digital products? That's a very mature question. I'm really impressed by the maturity that some of you guys have with regards to this function. And finally, I also got some of you asking like a crisp dive into my opinions on the future of various trending technologies and products, which I will try and answer. All right. And before we start, can anyone of you, or do some of you know or recognize what is the message of this particular image? Maybe you can use the chat box to kind of type in and let me see within the next 15-20 seconds if I get any interesting responses. What is it that we are, what is it the central message of this particular image that you see? All right, figuring out the object, the elephant in the room, different perspectives of same thing. All right. Let's have a couple of more and then we can, at least I can share my perspective, breaking out pieces. Interesting. Different perspectives of seeing a product. Very nice. All right, so maybe I can, everyone sees the project with their own perspectives. Brilliant. Very nice. I think all of you guys have kind of got it correctly, which is, this is actually the story that we all probably have heard from our grandmothers or our parents about the elephant and the 11 blind men. Essentially, the central idea is that most of you would have heard or read about product management. Some of you may have interned or interacted with people, already are a PM, in some cases. And in short, almost every one of you has some perspective on product management. And let me first start by saying that all, but then none of you are correct. And the reason for is that product management is such a vast and such a dynamic field that it's literally impossible for you guys to have a holistic perspective. And that includes me. I mean, I'm not sort of saying that this is not true for me. It's equally true for even practicing product managers, because the more we see technology evolving, and that was one of the questions that you guys asked me, and it's a very relevant one, because the more technology emerges and the more different ways of creating products emerge, the more you'll realize that we probably don't know enough, or we probably don't know as much as we had kind of thought initially. So for everybody in this discussion, including me, we are just trying to figure it out, like these 11 blind men trying to feel the elephant from different sides. So you might have heard about people talking about role of a PM, B2B product management versus B2C product management, growth PM versus feature PM, And I keep reading some of these very interesting and very beautiful discussions all over different social media and networks, etc. And I feel that every single one of them has a very interesting perspective to add. And the key here is to kind of be open to different people's perspectives as well. And yeah, you'll realize very soon that why that is important. So I would say towards the end that approach today's session with an open mind. There might be a few things that you might have to unlearn and relearn, or there might be some things that you might, or at least my attempt is to kind of give you a different perspective of the things that you might have already heard. All right. So why you should attend this session, and what are the takeaways that I would like you guys to take from this session? First is I would want you guys to be really thorough with the basic principles of product management. I know some of you already are. And so what we will basically discuss very briefly here is what is product management. And we'll probably go a little deep into the role of a product manager. Judging by the questions that you guys have asked, I feel this is important to kind of spend some time on. And then the best practices, this again is very important for each one of you to kind of familiarize yourself with. And then we are going to talk about a bit on the future of product management. And I would say we'll also talk about the future of technologies. And product management, of course, is a subset of the larger technology ecosystem. So it cannot remain aloof or away from the advances in technology. So some of the things that we will talk about is emergence of more powerful tools and how the interplay between latest technologies and product management happens. Some of the things you guys would have heard, or probably would even be studying at your college, would be around AI and machine learning, big data, and of course there are many more: 3D printing, robotic process automation, etc. So there's so many of them. And then towards the end, I would also expect some of you would have questions around how can you become product managers, or why you should kind of become a product manager, and those kind of questions. So I've tried to include some very basic parameters and basic topics to kind of cover here, like why product management and different types of product managers, and what are the skills required to be a PM, and of course how to enter product management. And probably one of the most underrated questions is how to choose where to work, which is I would feel that that's also very important. So
in the next video, we will look at the basic principles of product management in more detail.